I've got John Willis from Special Operations Equipment. What's that shirt?
It's only treason if you lose.
Yeah, I have that meme. I love that meme. I have one of those.
I'm Nicole Sauce from Living Free in the Sea. Zach, you should tell us about your shirt too, because that's pretty cool looking shirt.
Yeah, get in, loser. We're all going to die of dysentery. So if you've played Oregon Trail before, I saw this at a homeschool conference this spring, and I was like, I got to have that.
I'm just happy to know homeschoolers are still playing Oregon Trail.
Yeah. You know, there's a place online if you can find it where you can play it.
Yep. I totally have time for that, right? You do too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I had a program book when I was a kid. I think I was in 4th, maybe 5th grade, and you had to put in all the keystrokes to write the program for Oregon Trail on an Apple IIc. I think it was a 2C back when it was just green. The whole screen was green back then.
Yeah, that was a fun game. I think I played that in like 1st or 2nd grade or something like that a long time ago. Man, those were the days.
What Zach is saying is he's younger than us.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Yeah, I took a basic programming class, like basic language in junior high school. And we were, like you're teaching robots to go in squares and like nothing math problems.
I took a typing class with typewriters.
Yeah.
My 11-year-old, he says he's beat the game. I've never beat the game. I kept dying of dysentery or getting a snake bit or something, something gets me every time.
Yeah. Pippinize is right there with you, Zach.
Yeah. Okay. I'm in good company.
Yeah. All right. So today it's my first day back after being out of town. Wake up in the morning. It's always like catch up day when you do that, right? Tactical says you have to go to the pasture. And we had a sheep with blood on her tail. And flies were all interested. And when I cleaned it off, my worry is she's a hair sheep, but my worry is the flies have now laid eggs in there and I'm going to end up with fly strike. So Zach, what do you know about that?
I've never had that problem. You just what normal people do who have sheep is they'll spray something on it to make it whatever basically hatches out of there is not going to find it,
appetizing.
An appetizing environment. And just got to keep it clean. What caused it? Do you know?
It was a tick bite. So there was a lot of blood. There must have been a really large tick. I pulled 3 other ticks off. I scrubbed it with a brush to get all the scabbing off. And then we put blue coat and pine tar around. I put pine tar around it.
Yeah.
So,
there'll be people who tell me that sheep cannot get ticks because of the lanolin in the skin. And I'm telling you, that's absolutely incorrect. Ticks will often find their way on a sheep. The lanolin. Now, some sheep I think produce more lanolin than others, and they have an easier time. But I still find ticks on my sheep, and the best thing you can do is guineas. I mean, I just tell this. I've been saying this forever. You need to have guineas. You need to have that proactive assault and offensive mindset, and the guineas will do the job. And so the guineas go out there and they clear the ticks. Now, there's always some ticks out there that find their way, but it's less of a problem.
We run about 40 guineas the last couple of years, and we're down to 7 right now. And the ticks are definitely higher. To answer the question about the purple spray, I use that for the biting flies on the dog's ears. You have to apply it every day. I just went to some product that's for horses that has a strong citronella smell to it, and that seems to last about 5 days now. And I buy it. You can get it at any farm place.
Yeah, there's another substance, and I can't remember. It's not copper. It's like zinc or something. I don't know. I'll find out later. But that you can also use for deterring flies in a wound specifically. Because Trisha has an animal she had that had surgery, and she was saying, you can go buy this other stuff. And I was like, I'm going to use what I have here.
Yeah, it's going to be a constant application to keep that rear end clean for a while. Yeah.
Well, the good thing is the wound is really small, so hopefully
that's good. Yeah.
Quickly. But if lanolin works, I have lanolin cream because when they get like scabby ears, you put lanolin cream on that and it goes away.
Yeah, that might be a good try. We always use Nixol here on the homestead for infections when things get infected. Nixol, it's a natural product. You'll see it in a lot of alternative medicine medical offices, and so we spray that on things that get infected, and we use it here too as well for ourselves. So, if someone has a fever, it's a great way to nebulize to take care of a fever very quickly.
All the things we learn in this lifestyle. So did you know any of that stuff before you decided to GTFO?
No, I had never heard of Nixall. I heard about it about 5 years ago, and maybe a little bit more than that. And I've been using it on a regular basis. We had a number of people I've recommended this to who have cows, milking cows, and they get mastitis, which is common. And you shoot that up into the quarter of the animal, and within a couple of days, it's clear.
Well, now I'm going to have to learn all about Nixall.
Yeah,
that's my rabbit trail from this conversation.
Because mastitis is, I mean, that'll kill an animal, you know, if you let it get out of control. And so, but yeah, I've had, even my neighbors have tried it on their milk cow. You shoot it up into the quarter. If you catch it early enough, you shoot it up into the quarter, and it'll take care of it.
Was that the link to Nixall?
No, that's the link to the fly spray I've been using this year.
Oh,
it's called Bronco.
Bronco.
Yeah, I got it out of the livestock guardian dog group, and that was kind of the general consensus as to what they're using. The flies have been, I seem to say it every year, but they're really worse this year.
Yeah. Every year is like, there's always something, you know, it's like, no matter where you're at, there's always something every year is worse or, you know, better. It comes and goes, ups and downs. It's just part of farm life.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never been bit by biting flies until this year. So I don't know, maybe I stink more this year or something.
Take more showers.
Strategy. Yeah. Or take fewer showers. Everybody will like that. Yeah. You notice that the longer you're in this lifestyle, the more often you think, okay, well, this is not the year of the green bean or whatever it is in my garden. Yeah. And I'm having a really good squash year.
Oh, that's good.
My green beans are giving me the middle finger at this time. So I just keep planting more. Maybe something will work.
Something works out. Some things don't. You just got to see what's going to take and what's not.
Yep. Yeah. We got sorghum coming up and sunflower, black oil sunflower, just where the birds missed eating it as we were moving the tractors last year. And man, it's up. They're doing well this year. Like we didn't even have to plant them. It looks like we planted them though.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Everything's doing so far pretty good this year. I usually have a challenge with deer that I get into my garden, and I started putting up, I got some of these things from Hobby Lobby in town. You know, those little wind spinners.
Yeah. The pinwheels.
Yeah. And I put a couple of those in the garden in two different places. And that's really kept the deer away. They don't like that movement. And I've been surprised. Usually they attack my okra. They attack my green beans. They attack my cucumbers. They attack my pepper plants. And so far, nothing this year has gotten in there to do any damage. So I'm pretty impressed with those things.
Awesome. Billy's got Billy Bond has that bone sauce, and that stuff really seems to work for deer too.
I've heard a lot of good things about that.
Yeah, he says don't use it where you never want, if you ever want deer back there again. That's what he says.
Yeah.
I've also got these motion sensors that kick off when they see movement, especially at night, and they emit a high pitch sound that the deer don't like. And, you know, most people can't hear it. Some people can, depending on what setting you have. But those work too, seems like.
They have a motion sensor set up for a garden hose also. So you can turn that sprinkler on. So if you wanted to target like cats or something in raised bed area, those seem to work too.
Yeah, that's a good idea. There's all kinds of things out there.
If you put one of those in, John, you need to put a camera in too.
Yeah, we just bought more cameras. I had a snake get into the quail cubbies and eat some quail and then regurgitate them. They just couldn't get out of there. And that sucker, that got a hold of, it actually ate 2 quail in one hole. And you can tell when they regurgitate because the feathers are all like saliva down, slick backwards, like it just, you know, spit it back up.
Oh my goodness. That's just crazy.
Yeah, man, we've gone years here on this property too. We've seen a couple chicken snakes, but we've never had them get a hold of anything until this year.
I'll tell you something else that's worked for my garden really well is now this is years ago. I don't have this anymore, but back when I had an aquaponics system running out there, I had electricity running to that area, and I plugged in, and I'm not kidding you, a radio with NPR on it. Oh. NPR. And so and people are like, well, because it's got all these different types of radio traffic that are always coming on that station. Whereas if you just put a country station or a music station or whatever, it doesn't matter. The deer get used to the music. But on NPR, they have music, they have talk, they have news, they have all these different things going on. And it's just different. And so the deer never get used to one thing. And that did a fantastic job. But these pinwheels that I've got up now, are doing just as good a job.
Alex Jones would do it.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, you'd have symphony playing on NPR, or some kind of stuff like that. So it's always a change up. I mean, I'm making the deer a bunch of liberals, turning them into a bunch of liberals, but I'm going to shoot them in the fall. So it's no big deal.
Yeah. There we go.
I mean, they don't have voting rights yet.
Yeah.
No, they will.
Thank goodness. I'm sure.
I saw some, I don't remember where I saw it on a short or something. It was like a news report saying that illegals are getting pulled over. I think it was in New York, and they named another state, but they're getting pulled over and they have no driver's license or documentation. The only documentation they have is voter registration cards. And that's literally what they're handing law enforcement in a law enforcement contact.
Oh my goodness. That's just, we know what's going to happen this November. So
yep.
They did it once. They'll do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. They will. They're much more bold about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so now we have to talk about the debate because you brought up politics. Did you see any of that?
I did. I watched part of it. It got too hard to watch after a while. As bad as Biden did, I don't think Trump did exceptionally well. But it was night and day compared between the two. I thought Trump missed a lot of opportunities that he could have really finished Biden off even more than he did. Anyway, all that to say, I can't believe they're keeping him in the race, the Biden. It's hard to speculate about what's really going on behind the scenes, other than that they're just going to try to get him elected, try to get the base, on fire for him, and then pull a switcheroo after the election and then put Kamala in. Kamala, because what I was reading back what Obama has said about her. I mean, she has always been Obama's choice. That's why she got the ticket, for Biden. That's why he picked her, because Obama pushed him towards that decision. So it's always been my opinion that that's going to be the inevitable conclusion of this. We're going to have a President Kamala.
Then Obama could continue to run things.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what's going on. You have someone pulling the levers, pulling the strings, and it all leads back to Obama. So he's having his next term. He's going to have a fourth term.
He said, if given my, I would love to just sit in the basement and run things from behind the scenes. Like, there's video of him saying that.
Yeah, he said that outright, and everyone just ignores it. But he was serious about that, and that's what he's done. So he's running the party right now. The Clintons do not have the influence they once did. It's Obama running the show.
Yeah, it seems it.
So we're just going to watch and see what happens. All you can do is watch the show, is what I tell people on my channel. Watch the show. Enjoy the show.
Even if Trump gets in, you have a 4-year window to shore things up, because you're going to have chaos no matter what happens. Yeah. No matter who wins, there's going to be all kinds of turmoil. Get out of the cities. I don't know what you think is going to happen. You've already seen a demonstration over the last 8 years. And stock your stockpiles up, get your land more fertile, get your business going, make more money, and just make things easier for yourself. Even if you get this 4 years that you're hoping for,
use them.
Yeah.
If Trump somehow pulls a rabbit out of the hat and he gets into office, what they're going to do is they're going to immediately start where they left off and bring all kinds of law enforcement actions against him. They're going to just muddy that waters for that 4 years, make him completely irrelevant as best they can, and continue to push things behind the scenes as the World Economic Forum is, pulling the strings, which Obama is tied to. So I just think, not to mention, we have all of these. I think a lot of the war, the only benefit I could see to Trump getting elected is that some of these wars might be put on hold, because people aren't going to go down that route because of Trump's strong stance on things. But he's still stuck with an insurmountable amount of economic debt and economic foreboding. I mean, we just this economy is in big trouble. Huge. And we've kicked that can down the road so far that it doesn't matter what party you belong to or what you believe. If the right person got elected and said, okay, we're going to stop printing money, we're going to stop spending money, the country, which is what needs to happen, the country is going to be in super dire straits. And eventually that's going to happen regardless. We're either going to be forced to do all those things or someone's going to step up and do it. But there's a lot of hurt. There's a lot of hurt coming.
Yeah, wait till that CBDC comes in, because they have it in place. They just haven't launched it. If you look at it overseas, like China, for instance, it expires. I think it's a 90-day period. So if you got issued $1,000 today and held it in your account, it goes to zero in 90 days. You can't accumulate it and build any wealth off of it.
Listen, I love Trump. For the reason I love Trump so much is because all the people who hate me hate that man.
Yeah.
That's the main reason I like him. Now,
Yeah.
I mean, if he gets elected, and he's made bad decisions in the past, pokey poke, what's to say he won't bring in a CBDC once he sees the economic writing on the wall?
True.
I he's not perfect. He's not a perfect man, but he's very, very much the best person we have. And I'm not going to vote for another lawyer. I love the fact that he's a businessman. That's one of the main reasons I like him. But also because so many people who hate me hate him.
Financially, things were better in my business that 4 years. Things were better for all of my employees that 4 years.
Yes.
Our tax. I mean, just go back. There's tons of dudes. It's not just one dude. There's tons of dudes posting receipts from 2 years ago and today on the same reorders. And then there's some that are 4. I mean,
my taxes
400. Yeah, absolutely insane.
I've never paid so much in taxes right now.
Yeah, taxes, payroll taxes, employee taxes, everything, man. But just your Walmart reordering or your Uber Eats reorder, just go look at the cost difference. Just pull out some receipts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of these apps nowadays. I'm sorry, a lot of these apps nowadays have where you can go back 2 years and look at your history of your purchases for your groceries, and you can see the stark difference. I mean, inflation's not going away.
Yep.
And inflation is much harder on the normal person's pocketbook than the rates say it is.
Mm-hmm.
But that just gives the media a way to spin it as it's not as high as we all say it is. And yet you have those examples coming out where groceries are more than double.
And if you can slow down some of the green energy nonsense.
Yeah. And that's another thing too. I don't think Trump buys into that, thank goodness. But there's a lot of people in the RNC who do. And that worries me.
Well, they're purchased. They're bought.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at all the municipalities. Look at all the companies saying, "Hey, we were going to convert over to 20 electric vehicles," and we went to the electric company, and they're like, "That's more power than the entire city or township takes." Like it's not doable.
Some of the things I love. One of my favorite ways to blow up liberal heads on Twitter is to post pictures of the sea levels from like the 1800s, because people had cameras back then, and they took pictures of different places, and you compare those today, and like there's no change. There's
the medallion. Yeah, the medallion at the Statue of Liberty. Yeah, all of it, man. Yeah,
it's crazy, but yeah, this cult. It's a cult.
Yeah,
that people believe in. It's just a way to get more control.
Well, the insurance companies sure are still insuring Martha's Vineyard with no problem.
Yeah.
I like to keep close watch on the people who are friends of mine from my past, who are a lot more left-leaning, and take cues from their words, because whenever something happens on the Democrat side, like, I don't know, a debate that didn't go so well for them, they'll start spewing out the talking points that the party line is supposed to be. And right now the talking points are along the lines of, what do you mean you wouldn't fight for this issue? Like literally calling for violence now. The people who were supposed to be anti-war are calling for violence in their talking points. I absolutely will fight if Orange Man gets elected. And it's like, okay, good. They're telling you what they're going to do.
There's plenty of wars all over the world that you can go fight for.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I quit Facebook long ago, but before I quit, so many of my friends who you're describing, people I knew back in my past and people I went to school with, they all unfriended me before I quit anyway.
Yeah. Trump will give us a pause to prep more. That's exactly well said.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope so. I hope that's the case, but eventually, we get down to the end of that road where that can't be kicked anymore. And we're going to have to pay the economic piper of all the spending and all the stuff that we're doing here in this country economically.
And I don't think there's a way the politicians don't see that.
Yeah.
They don't care.
They don't see it, but they don't care. I think that's true.
Yeah.
I think some people just
like CBDC is going to come in and they're going to try to use that as an opportunity to rebase everything.
I think some of the more smart people know that, but it's like you have people like AOC who they'd have no concept of economics whatsoever.
Nope. Thomas Massey knows. You've got a handful of others, fighting for the Prime Act and stuff like that. They realize what's going on. But
what was the story on his wife?
His camp says that she had been sick for a couple of years.
That's what I thought.
I know the timing was very odd when he busted out that every one of them has a Israel action assigned to them. They have a guy assigned to them that discusses how they're going to vote and tries to sway them on their votes when it affects Israel.
Right.
And within a couple of days from then is when she passed.
Yeah, I remember reading something that she was suffering from cancer. So but there was all these conspiracy theories running around. I'm like, what?
That's because when he announced it, he didn't say a cause of death. He just said he was sad to announce her passing, and then he went silent for a few days, which is totally understandable. But then when the obituary came out, it talked about that she had been sick for a number of years.
What state of the
people we know who are closer to him said she had been sick for a number of years.
What state is the world in when you could fully believe that is actually something that could actually happen?
Yeah. You hope not, but yeah, I mean, it's the world we're living in today, where it's back in the military, I had a staff sergeant who always told us, our squad, he said, believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. Mm-hmm. And at the time, we were getting rumors that we were going to be deployed to Kuwait, and we're going to be deployed to this country, whatever. And he said, guys, calm down, believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. And he was right. We ended up getting deployed to, I think, we ended up getting deployed to Kosovo. So it's like, you hear all these rumors, you see all these things, you don't know what to believe anymore. It applies to life.
Yep, it does. And on the media side, look at all sides, because in there somewhere is a hint of the truth, and that's how you figure it out. Even the independent media people who are showing us live footage sometimes aren't showing us accurately live footage. And it becomes so easy to just trust what the on the ground guys are showing you. And then next thing you know, somebody's taking a shot from further away and you see fiction again.
Right.
Yeah, it's said that in Ukraine, there is a ton of luxury goods and supercars running around Ukraine right now because we've paid all of their bureaucrats. We've paid all those pensions and we've paid all those government employees. They're still being paid, and they're buying up all kinds of toys and shit right now. Like, you see those decimated cities, but at night there's other cities there that are full of nightclubs, and it's like nothing's even going on over there.
Yeah, there was a rumor going around on Twitter that Zelensky's wife bought a Bugatti.
She did, a Bugatti yacht. She bought a yacht.
I thought it was a car.
Yeah, no, it's a giant mega yacht that they've bought. They have 3 massive mansion estates here in the United States, and he has U.S. citizenship. He's actually been here with a Secret Service detail in the United States several times.
That's just crazy.
And now they're asking for submarines.
Oh my goodness. It keeps getting better.
It does. It just keeps getting more asinine, just further and crazier and crazier. It's literally like they're just like, what are you going to ask for? I'm going to ask for this. And it's just like 2 crazy people betting. It's like.
So staying on this economic kick, there was something that happened a couple weeks ago that I think most of the media just completely ignored. And that was the taking of interest of U.S. treasuries. Did you guys see that from Russia?
Yeah.
So let's just say, for instance, what I think most people can understand, when you buy a bond, a U.S. savings bond, you're entitled to a certain amount of interest from that bond. Now, same thing with treasuries. It's a bond. You're going to buy that and you're going to get paid a certain amount of interest for holding that bond, that treasury. Well, the U.S. said, okay, Russia holds a number of U.S. treasuries. They're getting paid interest. We're going to now confiscate that interest. That interest now belongs to us. So they're like, whoa, Russia. And Russia's probably used to this by now, all these sanctions and things like that, right? But the rest of the world took notice of that.
Yeah.
You mean that I can hold U.S. debt, U.S. treasuries, and I'm no longer entitled to the interest? You can just take that from me? Because some of these interest payments are every month, every year. And you're saying that's going to be cut off? You can just take that? That's called stealing. And then Janet Yellen came out and said, oh, no, this is totally acceptable, totally legal to just take the interest. All the other countries around the world who hold U.S. debt, China being the big one, and Japan being the other, saw that and said, wow, I don't think I want to hold these anymore. And when that happens, I mean, this is, again, the mountain that Trump is facing, even if he does get elected. he's going to have to deal with all these countries saying, hey, wait a minute, this is not guaranteed anymore. You can take all this from us. We want to go play in a different sandbox. And I think it's the BRICS countries that are now getting together in a month or two again, and they're going to be letting in a whole bunch of new members, Turkey, a NATO member, being one of them.
Yep.
I mean, the economic writing is on the tombstone at this point.
Yeah,
most people didn't even see that the other day.
I didn't see that at all.
Yeah.
The United States froze a bunch of Russia's bank accounts and assets a year ago, 18 months ago, and the whole petrodollar thing, like this has been going on for since the beginning of this. Like when they wanted Elon Musk to turn off Starlink, and then they wanted to freeze up, like they turned off all of the Teslas in Russia probably 2 years ago. And this all happened right about that same time. Like everything we're seeing in the news, if you watch not mainstream news, this shit's all been out there for 12 to 18 months. Like this is old news.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just, it's getting crazy. And now we're watching just this escalation with Ukraine and Russia, and we're wondering where this is going. I'm waiting to see where those F-16s are going to land.
Well, it's said that they can't land they're going to have to fly out of Poland or somewhere because they just don't have the runway infrastructure for them.
But Putin has said that makes Poland a target now. Correct.
Well, Putin's also said if you launch U.S. missiles into Russia, that makes everywhere a target too. But they're definitely doing that. They are launching. Apparently, Russia bombed Ukraine last night with some kind of missile system. But it is said that it is illegal to film anything within Ukraine. So where is that footage? You know, you always have to question when mainstream media is showing you something. Why would the White House come out and say half of the shit that it has said? Why would they tell us that? You know, it's always to sway us and get us to, react in some manner.
Choose our side. It's all about getting us to choose our side.
Yeah.
If you're not on my side, you're on their side, by the way. That's the other part of this. The sad thing is when we actually sit down and talk about core values, many of us are on the same side who think we are on different sides.
Yeah, you have to be on a side for sure. It's the World Wrestling Federation.
Because if we're not, cowgirl. Oh, God.
Because if we're not on a side, then we realize who the common enemy is.
Yeah, I agree. It says they debunked the Zelensky $5 million Bugatti purchase as a deep fake. That's interesting. Yeah. I was like, man, I'm like, how, to me, it makes sense it'd be a deep fake, but it's like, man, you're posting all of this, your new Bugatti, as you're dragging people off into the war zone out of the streets, and you're driving around in a new Bugatti. I mean, is that true? Is it real? And maybe it is, maybe it's not. You don't know what to believe anymore these days.
Well, it's the political theater. I never thought that Hunger Games was going to become a reality, but even down to watching what people are doing to their appearance, like ridiculous things that are way over the top. And here we are.
Oh yeah. And it's exactly like that. I mean, my kids even remarked the other day, like, man, some of these people walking around look like they're from the Hunger Games. And I'm like, yeah.
Yep.
And that's super fun because you don't have to accept what you are naturally.
Yeah. You just as a cat.
I just typed that debunked yacht thing in there, and it's Yahoo and MSN, and it's all the mainstream media that comes up saying that. Who knows if it happened or not?
Yeah. You never know. You never know. But I know one thing, all those billions of dollars over there are not going to every place they say they are.
Well, none of it is. They didn't shore up any. They shored up no defenses over there. And as far as that Bugatti yacht, it's not $5 million. A Bugatti car is $3 to $5 million. That yacht is hundreds of millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
We can't even tell you in our own military where all the money in the budget's going to.
No.
Once we send money overseas, there's no way to know.
Well, they're missing $40 billion unaccounted for in California over the homeless stuff right now.
Yeah, all those dollars are going. I mean, that's the reason we have all of this inflation as it is, and it's not going down. It's going up. It may be going up at a slower rate, but it's still going up. And if these countries, like what they've seen in the last couple of weeks, see that their treasury interest payments can be going away, they'll dump U.S. treasuries, and those dollars will have to be repatriated back. This just makes the inflation even worse.
Well, that's why they're all building bunkers on islands, because they're getting ready to jump.
Yeah. It's a crazy time.
So ADHD Nicole just started singing Jump in her head, John. 100% 80s music happened.
Yeah.
Newsom probably China. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so let's talk about solutions. How does the homesteading and preparedness lifestyle help us for a situation like this?
Get out of the city.
Well, look at the Great Depression. Look at the Civil War. I mean, a lot of people were not effective in a negative manner. It didn't even happen for a lot of people. You had people going to Civil War battlegrounds with picnic baskets and literally watching the battle as entertainment, and then they would go home. And meanwhile, you heard the cannons in the distance and places were burnt down, but it didn't affect a lot of people. Las Vegas made tons of money during the Great Depression. And keep in mind too, like the dust storms during the Great Depression, the government was paying those farmers not to produce food. They were capable of growing food. You're seeing that happen. There is an immense attack. Every week you hear one of the largest poultry producers burnt to the ground. That's because they already burnt the last 200. The 200 largest ones are already gone.
Yep. Now, I think the best thing you can do right now is to prepare your own eventuality of what's coming, and take into your own account food production, medicine, water, waste disposal. All of these things need to be your responsibility if you're going to have these things in the future. And listen, everything might be okay. Everything might be rosy. There may not be any problems at all. But I think if you're seriously watching what's going on in the world, you realize probably that's not going to be the case. So even if everything's fine, let's just err on the side of caution and be a good steward of what you have, and then build a safeguard for your family. And that's what I try to push on my channel.
Yep. And if you do all those things, and for some reason we kick the can down the road another 10 years, you're still in a better place. That's the part about it that seems so it's like a no-brainer to me, right? Where, with the inflation impact, I only see it when I travel and decide I need to go to the grocery store to buy my food so that I don't eat out, right? And then I'll see the bill and I'm shocked. But on the homestead, like, the food's coming from the homestead.
Right.
And while some of the inputs have gone up in cost for sure, it's been much more insulated from all of that.
I think you're never going to look back throughout time at the time of your life and regret the fact that you spent time building soil for your garden. You're never going to look back throughout your life and regret that you took medical training, or you took a firearms class, or you learned more about medicinals. You're never going to look back. None of that time is wasted. And so put that time in now when you can. And not only that, but you have the ability to go to the store and buy certain things that you might need to help you be a better person when it comes to each one of those categories. Don't waste this time. Everything may turn out to be fine, and we're just a bunch of doomers and gloomers, but I don't think so.
And if it makes you happy and gets you out in the sun, that's also not a bad thing.
Yeah. Get you moving around, get you active.
Yeah. Yep. It was my plan to write a bunch of stuff that needed to be written this morning, and instead I spent the morning in the pasture dealing with the sheep wound, but that was fine.
Yeah.
I'd hang out with the sheep, see the sun come up over the ridge.
Not only, hey, Alabama, not only has Walmart gone up in prices, but the quality has drastically declined in prices.
Goodness.
Look at the chemicals and poisons that Walmart's getting busted out for putting, like the watermelons, for instance, and the bananas and the rubbery stuff. Like, that's coming. Some of that stuff's coming from Walmart. Go just search ribeye and Walmart. Look at their select cut and their black packaged meats and stuff. That stuff, there is definitely something wrong with that. That shit is not, it's not how it came out of a cow. If we can even agree maybe that some of it is cow, it is not one cut of meat, man. Like, everybody has the ability within 30 minutes of where they are, if they look around, to get a better source of food, even if they don't produce it themselves. Like, there are cows within an hour drive of every city. Like, you can get with a farmer. He has an agreement with a butcher. You fill out your form as to what kind of meat you want back. And yeah, it costs a little bit up front, but it's a lot less per pound. And you know where that animal came from and how it was raised and what's put in it. Now it doesn't say from the USA or made in the USA. It says a product of USA. And to be a product of USA, all that means is it was packaged someplace in the USA. It's coming from Nigeria. They're coming from Brazil. They got mRNA stuff in them. I mean, it is literally just poison. Go take some produce from Walmart and try to plant some seeds from it and see what comes out of that stuff. It's not, man. Yeah, the prices are up and the quality is down, if not straight poison.
Meat glue is a real thing.
Yeah, look up pink slime. Now they call it something a little more palatable. They call it meat glue.
You're making me make squishy faces with the words.
Oh, empty in the comments said, do not buy from those trucks 40 ribeyes for $30. That stuff dogs won't even eat. I saw that on a roadside. I was in town, I don't know, about 2 weeks ago, and I drove by and I'm like, they had a big old billboard, big old sign that these trucks out there, 30 ribeyes or 40 ribeyes for $30. I'm like, that can't be right. That's no way. I'm not buying that. That's no way that can be real. And I'm not the only one who saw that. I'm glad. I wasn't losing.
Oh no, they do that here, and then the county inspector runs around trying to shut them down because they're not supposed to be doing that.
What are they really selling? What is it? Is it?
It's probably some recycled bones that they've put some printed meat or something. I mean, look up gutter oil. Like, just if you've never heard of gutter oil, as crazy as it sounds, it's in China, but look up gutter oil. Just watch some YouTube videos on that. Look up olive oil. Everybody that thinks olive oil is healthy for you, 90% of the olive oil is rancid. They literally take other oils and they run it through and they put a dye into it to make it look like olive oil. Most of the olive oil we buy is straight trash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really picky about the olive oil I buy, and I have to. I mean, I pay big bucks for it because I know it's real.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's almost tempting to go find that guy, buy some of those steaks just to do a video on it and see, what, and set it next to a real ribeye and be like, okay, let's see this ribeye and let's do a comparison.
Yep. And they do the seafood too, like ridiculously priced seafood stuff.
Scallops for $10.
Yeah.
Scallops are not $10.
Well, the ones that they cookie cuttered out are.
Yeah. The cod scallops might be $10. Sure.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, so and to bring like specifics to that, in my market, and this will be different for every market, it is between $1,400 and $1,800 with the butchering fee for a whole cow. Mm-hmm. And a cow will usually feed a family of 4 for a year. In my family, it's less because we just eat more meat. And that's not bad if you divide that by 12 into your grocery bill. And if you're feeling like I can't do that now, we'll make your goal this year half a freaking cow. And put aside, every time you buy meat at the store, put aside double money that day. So if you're spending $10 on steaks, put 20 and you will have enough by the end of you'll be surprised how much more you're actually spending on beef. Because for me, last year, the cow worked out to $3.50 a pound of meat that I got. And that's like all meat. That's ground meat, that's steaks, that's roast, that's everything. This year, I expect it to go up another 50 cents because inputs are higher.
Cut down your Oreos, cut down your vape, cut down your beer, whatever it is. People buying chicken, like Tyson chicken, 50% of the weight of the chicken is saline. They inject it with these big spikes that pump it up, and it's full of salt water. Like the chicken you buy, any chicken you buy at the grocery store, it's been in a bleach bath 17 times before they package that. Joel Salatin talks about it all the time.
That's just crazy. That's just insane.
Yeah, Adam says local butcher shops here allow you to pay quarterly and hold the pieces you haven't paid for yet.
That's nice.
If you start talking to the farmers, they want to make it work for you. Like I can't go pick up because I buy surplus from our local farmers and can it. I can't pick up every Saturday right now. I'll be at John's this Saturday.
It's to their benefit to sell to you directly than to go through the system.
I tell them that, and then I pick it up Monday. Like, it's fine. They don't care.
Yep.
Yeah, they will make it work for you.
Yeah, especially if they don't have to drive somewhere to meet you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go to them. I mean, it's like man, there's no excuse anymore. You just go buy from the farmer, and you're going to buy it in bulk. You're going to pay less money for it. I'm paying around $1,700 for a half cow. That's usually what we get, and I have no regrets. I'll pay that all day long because I know I'm getting a quality meat product because I know the farmer. I know how he's raising his animals.
Yep. So you can go see. We can see the cow. I know the kid that grows it 30 minutes from here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, that and you probably need less from a nutritional density standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Neethi talks about that a lot. The nutritional density of a pound of meat from a farmer versus a pound of meat from a factory farm.
Yeah, I eat a very heavy protein diet. Protein. I usually eat beef every day. We're getting ready to raise some more meat birds. In fact, we just put some quail. Tim just put some quail in my freezer that we harvested here on the homestead. So I mean, we're meat eaters here for sure. A lot of protein.
Are you doing Coturnix quails?
Yep. Yeah, they're doing pretty good. We like them. The kids love them, man. They just.
Yeah, for anybody that doesn't know, you can get quail eggs right off Amazon or eBay. They mail them right to your house. You pop them in the incubator. The quail pop out. You breed the males and females. You get eggs all year long. I've got quail out here right now that are over 2 years old, which we should have already harvested, and they're still kicking eggs out every day.
Are those fertile eggs, John?
They're not fertile eggs right now. No.
I was like, Self-Reliance Festival sales idea.
I did that. I actually, it's called balut. You ever had that? You know what that is?
No, but I know what it is.
Yeah. Well, see, over in like China and the Philippines and Indonesia, that's like their McDonald's, man. That's like their street food. They love that stuff. But a balut is a quail egg, and the quails are the most highly sought after. Most of them are duck eggs, sometimes chicken eggs. But the quail are the most highly sought after, and they're basically put into a incubator for like 12 days. And then you take it out, then you boil it, and then you eat it. And it tasted just like a chicken nugget. It was good. I liked it. And people think it's disgusting, but I'm telling you, there's a guy on YouTube, My Shire Farms. He's making a boatload of money by going into these Vietnamese or Asian nail salons or hair salons or whatever. Yeah. And he's selling these things like by the cases. I think he sells 80,000 balut a year.
Yeah, I've heard of the 100-year eggs where they bury them and let them ferment.
Yeah, the century egg.
Yeah.
Okay. In like the ground?
Yes.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, just like aging whiskey, man. It's a huge thing.
Well, we could start that, and then our ancestors can try it.
Yeah, not for me.
No, I can't wait that long. Do they do like the 50-year or 20-year eggs?
I'm sure they do.
Or the 1-year eggs?
One time a friend of mine bought some duck eggs at the Asian grocer.
Yeah.
And she went home and she called me and she's like, I don't know if I should return these eggs because everyone I crack open
has a duck in it.
Has a duck in it. And she felt terrible. Like, oh no, I've killed this animal, And I was like, well, that was a special kind of egg you just got.
Yeah. Yep. Those are highly sought after.
That's an expensive egg.
Well, if you think about it, it'd be like an American going over to China and never being able to find a good, ribeye.
Yeah. I mean, or going to McDonald's in China and you wonder why they have fish fries instead of French fries. I mean,
right.
It's just completely different.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. .com girl. Those are super gross.
She's not fond of the century egg. I've never tried one.
I agree. I mean, it sounds horrible. Sounds disgusting, but I'm telling you, they tasted pretty good. Tasted like chicken nuggets.
I would try any weird stuff. If there was a restaurant that had monkey or bat, I would try every bit of it at least once.
It says My Shire and Coturnix Corner on YouTube, top YouTube channels for quail. Yeah, I mean, My Shire's got a lot of great. We've done quail here, and I can give some people pointers on things, even though it's mostly Tim who does it here. And Tim is my father-in-law. He lives here on the homestead with us. But like that guy. My Shire, he knows how to turn it into a business and be profitable. And I always get homesteaders coming to me, Zac, I need to find a way to, earn money on my homestead, use my homestead for a business. And I'm like, man, that's an option. Go check out his stuff.
Yeah, Beth Emily says, read ingredients on everything you buy. At the bottom, it may say contains bioengineered food ingredients. I was in California over the weekend. And I wasn't even in an SOE shirt like I am today. Like I was in a normal person shirt that day. And some guy at the grocery store, I'm looking at avocados. He's like, if it's this brand, it's GMO. And I was like, why did you choose me out of all the people in this grocery store to say that to? Which is fine. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yes, he probably saw you looking at the labels like anyone.
Yeah, I was actually trying to just find a soft one. And it didn't say that on the label. And then he followed me around the store telling me all about it. Like why that brand. And I was like, really, all he had to say was the one thing. and I was going to look for that brand and then probably believe you because I don't have time to look it up.
Yeah,
that was his pickup line.
Oh yeah, that didn't get him very far. I'm oblivious. You got to be real clear with me. Hey, do you want to go on a date? That's how that works. Otherwise, I just assume you're being nice.
They say that there is thousands of products right now in Walmart on the shelf that contains bug protein. It is no longer called mealworm or cricket protein. There's other words for it. But if you look into it, there are a ton of iconic brands that we grew up with over the last 20, 30 years. And it is not the same product. It is nothing like what it was made of.
Oreo cookies is a great
I was going to say Oreos. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not Oreos. Oreos of 20 years ago are not the Oreos of today, guys. Sorry. It tastes the same because of the chemicals they put in there.
Yeah. I'm confused about your question, Bob. Why does everyone want to make money on your homestead? Mind your business.
Well,
I think he wasn't meaning to ask that exactly.
Well, because I think what he means is put your effort into your ongoing concern. A lot of people that, like I always say, there's two kinds of homesteaders. You have homesteaders that they want to be so secluded and just not leave the property, and they kind of have to live in poverty, like the little house on the prairie kind of lifestyle. And then you have people that have very, very successful businesses like Bob that built an incredible, amazing homestead and then doesn't have to profit from the homestead, right? Because the businesses make enough money to pay for the homestead. I like a medium someplace in between there. Like, yeah, we could sell quail eggs, we could sell chicken eggs, but it's more of a hassle to me because my time is so much more. I make so much more money doing other things. Even if I took a child and said, okay, you're going to run this egg business, I would make, he would also make more money if I just put him within the business doing business tasks.
Right. And that's what I'm trying to do with my kids. I have different things for them to do so that they can earn money. And then at some point, do things, off on their own, in that regard to make money. Because I have kids. I got to raise a generation. I need them to be business minded. I want them to be smart.
Absolutely.
And we're all going to have bills to pay.
Tag, what's up,
free
man?
Is in the house.
Yeah, people are like, well, how do you change this? How do you win this? I mean, you have to build something so amazing that your children want to be a part of it when they grow up. They're not growing up to look forward to run. They want to stay and continue what you're doing. How do we really fix things? Stop warehousing your elderly, right? We keep them on the property, have multiple houses and multiple places on the property. And then those older people help raise those children, allowing you to do more work. And then as we get older, because history is his story, right? If you don't build your story and continue to tell your story just dies. There is no history of your family if you're not there to tell your story and raise those kids and watch them. And a lot of times we'll do things in a difficult manner. And when we're done, they're like, why did we do that? I go, because that's how I want that story told 5 years from now, because the eyeballs, especially the young ones watching, I want them to know what that was.
And I'm going to go back to the price on cow. It's different in every market, and I will acknowledge that my market is cheap. It really is $1,600 for the whole cow. But when I have them butchered, I also take the whole eye of round. Like I don't have them cut them into very many pieces because I can do the fine cutting whenever I want to. So I usually save several $100s off of the processing on that.
Maybe I should
the way
ask
ours get priced is they're like it's it's $1,000 or $1,200 for the cow, and then you pay the butcher.
So how hard is that? Can you explain that a little bit more?
So you get the whole eye of round, and then you go onto YouTube and you look at people who show you how to break down an eye of round, and you copy what they're doing, and you'll put 45 minutes into that, and you'll have like steaks and roasts. Or what I've started doing is curing it into something called basturma, which is why I want the whole eye of round, which is a cured meat I can travel with that's delicious. So as you start looking at ways you can cut bigger pieces of cow down to smaller pieces, another thing you can do is source just those whole pieces. But when you're paying a butcher to turn everything into steaks and ground and roasts and all of those things, every cut over time starts costing money.
Right.
I just Googled average price for half cow in the United States. It said $2,000 to $3,000. But I mean, if you add that up at shitty Walmart prices, you're well over that.
And the quality.
Yeah. And the poison.
Real food costs money, guys. I mean, the stuff that you're buying at the store is not real.
Yep.
That's
that dried. That's the dried meat, right, Nicole, that Jack talks about all the time?
The what meat? The dry?
What? Yeah, you said you turned it
So the
into what?
Bosturma. So
Yeah.
at last Self-Reliance Festival, I was letting people taste a
Was
dried
that
meat.
yours? Spirko
Yeah.
gave me some of that. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so it was a Bosturma, and I
How you
might get
spell
another
that?
one by next SRF. So I have
How you
another
s-
round available.
How you spell that?
Basturma. I think it's Hungarian.
Bastura?
Bosturma with an M. If you can't find it, I'll send you a link to the recipe. It's basically you take it, you cut it in smaller pieces, and then you just cover it in salt and put it in your fridge for a couple of days.
Okay.
And that pulls a lot of moisture out, and then you hang it in a controlled environment and for a while so that it sort of ferments itself, and then you put a coating on it that's a combination of garlic, hot paprika, and not hot
So it's like
paprika.
biltong, right? Biltong?
It's a little bit drier than biltong. Yeah, but it's a similar process. You don't have vinegar in this one.
Okay, can you cure it like would you have to cure this in like the wintertime if you don't have, because I don't have AC?
Yeah, I would find a basement or something. But yeah, for you, I do it in the wintertime. I have a wine refrigerator that I can set the temperature at that I can do it in the summer. But you know, you could actually cure it in your refrigerator if you have like a refrigerator where you put things. Okay. You can hang it in there too. It just takes longer to cure at the colder temperature.
Okay. Yeah, good news. Bill Gates has a injection now for the cows to prevent the cows from farting. Spirko did a good live yesterday. Talked quite a bit about that. He's like, all that cow methane that comes from CAFOs, man. Those cows are standing to their bellies in manure in a lot of those places. That's that last six weeks of that cow fattening. Like, don't eat that meat. Like that's the problem right there.
Who's all going to be at the festival?
In the comments or speakers?
Yeah, speakers.
Okay, so we've got you.
Okay.
Jack Spirko.
Awesome.
We've got Sonny Puzikas. Bear is coming.
Awesome.
Dudley's coming.
Just recently took his class.
Awesome. Yeah, cool. John, of course, will be there, and I'll be there.
Is Tag coming?
Tag, I don't know. Tag, are you coming? Let us know in the comments.
Is he something about Angry Prepper? Or?
Angry Prepper will be there?
Angry Prepper, Toolman Tim will be there, if you know him. And Sonny, I don't know if I said Sonny Puzikas already. I might have, I'm trying to remember her name right now. Combat Midwife. Do you know her? I don't know for sure if she's coming or not, and I will know by the end of this week. But she just talks about like being medically prepared for female issues in a crisis, which would be a really good topic. So, I mean, those are the big names that are coming, and then we've got a Backwoods Butcher will be there and some other things. So
that's awesome. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah. Tell everybody what you're going to talk about.
Well, I was going by some of the things you mentioned in that email, and a lot of these things are things that come up often on my channel or just in my inbox. You mentioned analysis paralysis. I see that all of the time. Homesteaders who have this idea of what they want to buy for a homestead, the land they want to have, and it's got maybe 10 or 12 items on the list that they have to have. And they just never pull the trigger on anything because it's not their Shangri-La. It's not perfect. And I try to tell people, guys, you don't need it to be perfect. You're going to need to make it perfect. Unless you're a millionaire and you have the money to go in and buy that perfect homestead and have everything done for you that's not, you're going to need to actually put in the sweat equity to make it so. And so I usually tell people, find 3 things. Find 3 things on a list of a dozen that you want in a homestead and make one of those things water. So you really have 2 options. Once you find those, pull the trigger. If any of those 12, find 2 other options on that list of 12 that you must have on your homestead, and then pull the trigger, and everything else you can make it over time. So our analysis paralysis is something I think that we could talk about. It's in all the ins and outs of that. It's something that's very common. The other thing, just overcommitting. You mentioned that too. That is another thing that I just see so many people, they bite off so much more than they can chew. And then there's the other end of the spectrum where people don't bite off anything. They're so scared. I have do homesteading consultations, for folks. And there are some people who they'll debate for months on whether or not to buy a few sheep or to get that milk cow. There's people who just bite off more than they can chew, and there's people who just are scared to take the bite. So try to find that middle ground and realize that wisdom comes from experience. You're going to have to get your feet muddy. You're going to have to fail at things. You're going to have to fall short in order to gain wisdom and experience. All of us understand how hard it is. We talked about this at the very beginning of the video. How hard is it to grow a garden? There's going to be things some years that do fantastic, and some years you're just shaking your head like, why do I even bother? But all of that brings experience so that you can better do things the next year. And it's the same thing with animals or any aspect of homesteading. So we'll talk about stuff like that. And then some other things about, infrastructure, livestock, all that.
Yeah. And the cool thing about water is it doesn't necessarily have to mean you have a creek on your property. There are a million ways to get, not a million probably, but there are many ways to get water. And somebody brought up Curtis Stone. He bought a property that he got for a song, because he could tell by the shape, the topography of the land, that he could develop a spring on it with some minor changes. And he brought in heavy equipment, did that, and he had water, and he would have paid at least double just by knowing I can build water there.
Yeah. I would love to have Curtis out here. I know he comes and does some stuff in Memphis close here. I think he got turned around at the border the last time he was coming in here.
Yeah, he's an interesting character. I met him over at the Off Grid with Doug and Stacy event. That was a few months ago.
Awesome.
He's got some great stories to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely a smart guy.
Yeah, he's going state by state doing the do's and don'ts of each state. We kind of did what you were talking about in the beginning when we got the property. We went and bought an instant farm. We came home with a trailer full of animals and had no fencing, no infrastructure.
Yes.
I mean, nothing. We didn't even have topsoil. We couldn't even grow grass, and we had all these animals.
Yeah. I see people do that all the time. Like, I haven't put the fence up yet, and they're buying sheep from me. I'm like, well, where are you going to put them? Well, we're going to set up these temporary things. And I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah. Your sheep are going to get out.
Yeah. I'm like,
ask me how I know.
Three goats quickly became 23 goats. And the sheriff's like, hey, where are you at? I'm in Nashville. Well, your goats are on the hill here, right by the road. And I'm like, well, are they on the road? He goes, no, I chased them back. Just, we would just put a bag of feed up on a table, and they would kind of stay around the feed until the feed was gone.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, I get it. Some people just dive in and, damn the torpedoes, but I just think that you're going to get more satisfaction with what you do if you just take the time and do things in an order and have some patience, but don't be scared to do them. Just, please get some fencing.
Yeah. I just did a webinar with Joel Salatin on homestead time management.
Oh yeah.
And one of his pillars is infrastructure. Like he said, when we rent a farm, I run water is another one of his pillars. He's like, we underground pipe water on land we do not own because it saves us a ton of time. And then we spend thousands of dollars on fencing, on a perimeter fence, so that I don't have another incident where my cows get out and get hit by trains, because they lost like 6 cows in one day and then had to process them all. And he said, I was lucky that all 150 cows didn't end up on that train track that day.
Yeah. How do you process a cow that's been hit by a train?
You don't.
Tractor. I mean, apparently they cut off what they could save. Yeah.
I mean, what's left of that cow? How fast was that train going? I mean, what's the deal?
We've seen humans hit with trains, and some of it's 2 miles up the road. The first thing we did, like you're never going to wish you didn't have cattle panels. Like, we did temporary fencing, which is still some of it's permanent in place. You're never going to wish you didn't have those things once you have them. And with a T-post on each corner, and we just use heavy zip ties. Like, we don't even use, we don't wire them in or nothing. And we get a year and a half out of those. But with 4 cattle panels, you have a 16 by 16 pin. And then next weekend, you can buy 2 more cattle panels. And now you have, twice as long of a pin. And you can just keep doing that. And then rotationally just move them if you had to, with a few sheep or something in there.
I keep buying those things. I think every time you think you have enough cattle panels, you could always use 6 more.
Yeah. And
we're literally in that boat right now. I've
the
got
way
to
to
separate
really,
my rams from the ladies, and I'm like, gosh, I think I need about 10 cattle panels.
yeah, and like Tag will tell you, the way to really do it is buy enough bulk that they'll forklift it in, because that way you don't have to man labor it. And when you have something with forks, we use a skid steer every single day with forks to load and unload something, man.
We live so far out. It's hard to get a truck back here who can do that. So we just keep bringing them in 2 at a time, in the back of the pickup.
Man, we'll take them and put them on a hitch on a trailer hitch and just drag them wherever we need them to go. Yeah, it works really well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's a good one. Any recommendations about transitioning from city to country life with kids? We lived in the country about 5 years ago, but moved to Memphis area. As you know, all know, Memphis is crazy.
Oh man, it's a bad place.
Tim, we're having a party here at the compound this weekend. Everybody's invited. It's free. Put your kids in the car, come out here. I go to Memphis all the time. You're like 90 minutes, 2 hours, no matter where you are in Memphis. Come out, see the property, hang out. You're going to meet everybody. There's going to be hundreds of people here Saturday. Just show up here and we will walk around the property and have any conversation that you want to have. We moved from San Diego with kids to the middle of nowhere, the most impoverished county in all of Tennessee, and we still live here, and we've been here 18 years.
That's awesome. That's an invite. Take them up on it.
It is an invite. Yeah. And even if you're like, I don't like that guy's stupid beard, you don't even have to talk to me.
You don't have to talk to him.
You can talk to Nicole, who has no beard.
I have no beard at the moment. Now I have to stick a fake one on by the weekend. Yep. Okay. So what animal that you want to raise haven't you gotten yet?
Giraffes.
Yeah, that'd be great. I would love to have a giraffe steak. That's all high up on my list. I think I really want to have I want to try peacocks because I know they're
you don't. No,
I know.
Man.
I know they're loud, they're obnoxious, they're crazy.
Those are awesome at the zoo.
So big.
They are going to get on anything you don't want them on, and they are going to scratch to pieces your hood of whatever vehicle you have.
Oh, okay. Maybe I don't want to do that.
I thought on your roof
because I thought peacock about the size of turkeys. So we took the peacocks and we put them with the turkeys, and they were there about 5 minutes. They hopped the fence and they were up on the hood of my cars. They were on the hood of my trucks. They were on the roof of the building. They did not do anything we thought they were going to do.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I don't want to do that. I was thinking about emus.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be cool.
Yep.
To have those. And I've always thought about alpacas or llamas because they're good livestock guardians. But from what I've been told, that they're kind of high maintenance. Like you have to keep shearing them. And I tried that once with sheep and it did not end well. And so now I have hair sheep. But yeah, that's kind of what I've thought about. Donkey. I want to get a female mammoth donkey again. That was the best livestock guardian we ever had. And I want to get another one of those.
I think zebras.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I'd like geese. I don't have geese at this time. I would
geese.
like geese. You have 2 geese?
We bought them with Instant Farm. They're still here. We've had them for probably at least 10 years.
Are they jerks?
No, they're not bad. They regulate. Like when the ducks jump on the other ducks, or the duck jumps on a chicken, they're in there in the mix. Like they are breaking it up.
Wow.
Yeah, they do regulate.
So, hey, Alabama, I see this comment. Check out Homegrown Herbalist. Can you email me that? Because I've been looking for somebody to involve in our world who's more of an herbal animal care person. So that would be nice. Anyway. So anything else you'd like, John, that's not an animal you already have or have had?
Man, I've had everything. We've had so many animals.
Not a giraffe, you said.
I don't. I have 7 giraffes that are taxidermied. I do not have any live giraffes right now.
Oh, really? You have 7 taxidermied giraffes?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that was the sole reason you were coming, Zach, was to see his
see the giraffes, see the museum.
I had no idea, but now I can't wait.
Yeah. I love watching his lives at night because the giraffes will come up and then people are like, are those giraffes? Every time.
Where'd you get them at? Where'd you get them at?
We just buy them from museums. That I didn't hunt.
I thought you were like an African hunter or something like that.
No, I collect just very bizarre medical items and devices and weird things.
That's cool.
You'll see.
Okay.
You'll see.
You will
Yeah,
see.
there's a museum here.
Yeah.
Should I be
We'll make
scared?
sure
It's
you get
not,
a tour.
it's not like I should be
No.
scared.
No, it's literally like a museum.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Cool. Or going into a really unusual antique store.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, we take the most bizarre out of the antique stores.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You're like one of those guys who shops at the Gremlin store, you know.
Yes. Yes, it's Halloween. It's Halloween every day here.
Yeah. I sent Amanda a meme saying how many days to Halloween it was about 2 days ago.
Yeah, it's every day here.
Yeah. So Hogs, can you have exotic in Tennessee? Yes. Some exotics I think require special permitting. Definitely special fencing.
So series 1 animals, lions, tigers, bears, very, very difficult. There's some workarounds. You have to be a zoo, museum, or educational facility, which means you have to open your property up twice a year, I believe, for school tours. And that's kind of your workaround for that. Type 2 animals, exotics, very easy to have. It's about a $35 permit that you file once a year, whether you do that or not a big deal. You can have foxes. You can have everything, pretty much everything other than lions, tigers, and bears with no issue. There's literally breeders here. I've got a friend that breeds zoo animals, and then there's actually places at like the exotic animal shows and such where you can go buy all kinds of stuff, monkeys, and you can't have apes, like you can't have chimpanzees. You basically can't have anything endangered.
Are chimpanzees endangered?
No, but they're actually highly dangerous. A lot of people actually get quite damaged. Yeah,
I've seen those
people get them, and then the monkey outlives them, which is
I've seen those reports.
Yeah, Rogan's had some crazy interviews with people about chimpanzees.
This is the burning question. Where do you get your olive oil from, Zach?
Just different places. You got to go to the Whole Foods places. I don't buy anything from a big box store. Not really Whole Foods, but like some of these more co-op health food stores, things like that. They'll have some real stuff. You just got to know your labels, and that just goes with education. So do some research online. A lot of the research I do is just right there in the store. I'll have my phone obviously on me and look at the labels and just, do some research on each one of these labels. But the reality is that you can find olive oil. If you find it, if it's cheap, if it's too good to be true, it is. So just plan on spending some money. You spend $20, $40 for a bottle.
You're not getting good oil in a plastic bottle either. Like we have olive oil. We have an olive oil store. I think it's a franchise or something. But there's one
in Franklin, Tennessee. Is that the one?
Yep.
I've been there, and I have.
Yeah, upstairs by the Gold Exchange. Yep.
They had amazing products. If I ever go back, am I going to be in that area when I come down in October?
You're gonna be close.
Yeah, close enough.
All right, so I may swing by that place. It's a fantastic place.
Yeah, you're driving over, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can totally go there.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would really question the Kirkland brand. We do use it.
Yeah, I've got a bottle of that here that was given to me by a friend, and it tastes, everything about it looks exactly correct. But I'm like, she told me how much it costs, and I'm like, really? So I don't know. If someone do some investigative journalism.
Look up on YouTube like the Olive Oil Crime Syndicate and just watch. There's like a 90-minute expose on this that will really make you. It will raise some questions, and then you'll kind of flesh it out and find it on your own.
That olive oil can should say where the factory is that it came from, which
they have.
I don't know if you've done that, because like when I worked, so my dad ran a peanut factory that was like a small family owned one when I was growing up. And at that time, the Kirkland brand was those peanuts, and they were quite well taken care of. Of course, since then, Nabisco bought that peanut factory and things have moved. But you can start back engineering some of those things if you look at the factories.
They have a whole like federal task force for olive oil in Italy because they're taking rapeseed oil and they're running it with these membranes, and then they're dyeing it to look like olive oil. But it's rapeseed oil, which is the same thing all your nuggets are fried in, and it's canola oil is what it is.
Yeah, usually the taste test can you will give it away. Like the Kirkland brand that I was given, you can taste that peppery taste that's unmistakable.
Yeah.
But again, these days you wonder if that's even being fabricated somehow, because I'm like, the cost was so cheap. But like some of the real stuff that's out there, you're going to pay, 20, 30, $40 for a bottle of it. It's just,
Yeah, and not complain at all. I mean, your option is to get on a plane and fly somewhere where they make olive oil and buy it from the farm
directly. Yeah.
which is not like a terrible way to spend a few weeks, but it's kind of like going to wine country or whatever. That's your other way, or a friend who does that.
I just mostly cook with butter, and I have I buy coconut oil, but I'm very protective of my olive oil that I know is real olive oil, because I don't want to use it in everything now because it's so expensive. But it's okay. I'd rather buy real food than potentially fake.
Yeah. We have an importer here called World Market, but it's not the World Market brand. It's just a little storefront, and they import it out of all sorts of different places. So you can trust their olive oil too. So I don't know. It's just the more you ask real foodies in your area where to find these things, the easier it gets to find them. And you'll find things you drove by a place 100 times and didn't realize that's what that was.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to some of the beginning aspects of homesteading, like how do you homestead? And I think it's imperative that you begin to cook, because once you learn to cook, you're going to be better off once you get to your homestead using real whole food ingredients. And I think so many people today just don't cook. They go through the drive-thrus, they go buy stuff prepared at the supermarkets, all boxed things, processed things. And once you just begin to cook, you begin to learn what real food is again. And then once you do have a homestead and you're growing your food and you're raising your animals, all of these things you realize and how they can be utilized to make a better meal. And so people always ask, Zac, how can I first get into homesteading, or how can I begin to dabble into homesteading even when they're living in the city? And my answer is always start learning how to cook.
From scratch.
From scratch, right.
Yeah.
From scratch. Know how to make bread from
bread.
scratch. Yes.
Yeah.
We
don't eat bread here anymore, but I know how to bake bread because we used to.
Yeah. I still eat it sometimes, but man, it's like I'm trying to avoid the carbs.
Same.
But most of the problems people have with bread, though, don't exist with homemade bread. Like a lot of people aren't gluten intolerant; they're glyphosate intolerant.
Oh yeah, bread doesn't give me problems; it just makes me bigger. And I'm like, I gotta stop.
Yeah.
After you turn 40, it's all downhill,
Yeah, cake makes me bigger.
Yeah.
Hardway, Alabama says use tallow. I make so from my cow every year. I get all the bones, and I have to have a special meeting with the butcher about what that means. And I'll do these giant vats of bone broth from that. And on the top, I get all of this tallow without having to render the fat. That's almost enough for us for all of the sautés all summer long. Like I never have to use an oil because I'm trying like mad to use up all this other fat I have developed by processing the animals. So tallow is a great one for a summer sauté.
There's some really good tallow companies out there right now that you can buy from too. I'll have the name here in just a second. I don't know if Amanda's on here or not.
Yeah. And these are all things we were taught to be afraid of in the 80s, right? It was like using the lard, using the tallow, using the chicken fat, you throw that stuff away. Eggs. Yeah. Eggs. High cholesterol, man. No more than 2 eggs a week or something like that.
I usually eat between 5 and 6 eggs a day, and I'm fine. My blood pressure is excellent.
Yeah, our employees have not bought eggs in the last 4 years. We send them home with as many eggs as they can take.
Free food if you work at SOE. Tallow's a good skin cream, yeah. I have soap made from tallow.
Ungovernable Project, check them out. They seem like a really good company. We've got our tallow here. Ungovernable. Yep.
Here's one I don't know. Anybody following up on the huge dairy confiscation? I haven't heard about that.
Yeah, it happened in Michigan. I did a video on it. I showed some of the video that they put out when they came. It was the Department of Agriculture from Michigan, and the details have not yet been released of what was going on. But this is a farm, a co-op actually of numerous farms that were putting out raw food products, raw milk products, butter, cottage cheese, all from sheep, goats, cows, raw milk, obviously all these things you could think of. And they came in and they brought dumpsters and they force the employees of the co-op to dump all of it in the dumpsters, thousands of pounds worth of food. And at one point in the video, if you listen really close, if you watch the whole video, I think the whole video was posted over on Instagram. And one of the workers asked the guy who with the clipboard, the state worker, don't you feel bad at all about throwing all this food away? And the state worker just smiled at him. It's just, it's just wrong, but that's what's happening now. So Pennsylvania, we've heard about Pennsylvania and Amos Miller and all that. Now in Michigan, they're like, hold my beer.
Isn't Michigan
shares there?
What? Isn't herd shares? Isn't Michigan also where the homeschool guys, the Board of Education got caught on a hot mic talking about, well, we can just say that there's child abuse and that'll get us through the door without a warrant.
Right. Yeah. Michigan is out of control. The people from Michigan are now calling their governor the Gretsch.
Yeah. Whitmer. The attempted kidnapping where 13 of the 16 were actually federal agents and CIs. They actually fabricated that.
Yeah. The Gretsch.
And they're talking about rolling her out for president.
She is so unliked by most of the country. That would be a really hard sell. Newsom is hard enough. I don't see how.
I just think that's an indication they don't want to win an election.
Were there any guns?
Well, they don't need to anymore.
Was there any enforcement present at that Michigan co-op?
Oh no, I didn't see anything, but I made the mention on. I just got on a 12-hour vacation from Twitter because I would have turned those people into compost. That's just it. Sorry. Because at some point America's got to be like, you know what, this has got to stop. This is ridiculous. Enough. Yeah. And so, but the farm, the one who was recording for this was called Strong Sisters. They're on YouTube as Strong Sisters, and the co-op is called Nourish Co-op. And I'm waiting to hear the details on what it was the state said. And their little seizure notice that was on camera, all it says was raw milk dairy or something like that, for what the reason was for the seizure. But that's not, so what? Was there a complaint somewhere, or who knows? But we're waiting for more details.
I don't understand what you're saying. Please send that to me in writing.
Yeah, unless you have a warrant, and even then, I don't care. Unless you have some kind of armed personnel with you escorting you on my farm, get out.
Yeah, that's what Joel said. The answer is, I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're saying. Send that to me in writing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Can we come look? No, you're trespassing. You're not. Please don't even get out of your vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
So John Moody had a similar raid at his grocery co-op years ago in Kentucky. And they put notice on his door and locked the door to the grocer because of raw milk. And they did it on Independence Day weekend.
This was done.
Yeah. And what he did was he figured out by address whose representatives everybody was, sent them out a script to call, and the home phone numbers of their representatives at the state level, and told them to call on Independence Day weekend and say, I'm sorry, Senator, whatever, to disturb you on your Independence Day holiday, but I wanted you to know an abuse that the Department of Health is putting on your people, and explain the whole thing. And he had doctors and lawyers and all sorts of stuff in the co-op. So they turned that around, and the Department of Health, like, his name is still a bad word at the state level.
Someone is at some point on one of these farms is going to have to do some really hard things. Yeah. And I know what that means. It means your life is over. But the reality is the bureaucrats are no longer fear the people.
Well, that's why the big push with Randy Weaver or Koresh or any of those guys, that's why they make such a big example, so that everybody else sees that.
Mm-hmm.
We all know how that goes when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to have more dogs than they have guys with guns. Bob's working on that.
Have you ever done any videos with Shepherdness?
No, the Shepherdess. No, I have not, but I've watched her channel from time to time. Yeah.
Yeah, she does a lot of those. She actually interviews a lot of those
farmers. Is she in Pennsylvania? Is that why she was so closely tied to the Amos Miller?
Yeah, I don't know where she's at. Her math breakdown is so good on profiting on animals, though.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing when it comes to business. She's also, she's not, I'm using only heritage breed because I don't want to use chemicals on my sheep. But I know she does do a lot of chemical medicines and things like that for her. She's raising a commercial breed, which absolutely look fantastic. They're really full, very well fulled out and everything. Amazing animals. But the heritage breed that I have are smaller, but I don't have to use drugs to keep them alive.
Got it.
Are you doing
East Texas, she said.
Yeah. Are you doing St. Croix or what do you do?
Yeah, St. Croix.
That's what we have here. And we've had them 2 years, and I would be willing to do a wormer if I had to, because my herd's so small. Mm-hmm. If one looked like they needed it. We haven't had that happen yet. We've had all sorts of other nonsense, but not that.
Yeah. I've lost a couple sheep because I brought in a Katahdin, and that lowered some of the hardiness of the breed. I'll never do that again. So I'm still recovering that. I did that like 3 years ago, and I'm still sort of recovering from it. I'm mostly recovered, but I'll never do that again. I'll only stay with St. Croix from here on out.
That's what I
have. Yeah, we've got a St. Croix farmer about 2 miles from me that's been developing his herd for 10 years in the area. Mm. So I'm hoping to get a ram from him this fall.
Dr. Barry has a lot of St. Croix.
Yep.
That's where ours came from.
That's what Greg Judy raises, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think he got his from Greg Judy.
Yeah, they're good. They're a good breed. I recommend them. Now, if you're up farther north, I think that the Katahdins are okay. But the worm load that we have here in the south, the Katahdins just seem not to do as well.
Yep. Can St. Croix deal with the cold like Idaho?
I would not put a St. Croix in Idaho. They're from the Caribbean. So you're going to be, it's like, no, don't do that.
But that's an important thing. Choose your livestock for your climate.
Right.
Based on what a personality does. Like we do have 2 half Katahdin, half St. Croix, and haven't had the same genetic issues you do, but I think we're cooler than you are. A little bit temperature-wise where I am.
Where are you at?
I'm
in Tennessee.
I'm in Tennessee, east of Nashville, so I'm usually 5 to 10 degrees cooler than John is in West Tennessee.
Okay. Yeah, so you're kind of like on that same line where we are.
Yeah.
Mine always give birth whenever the most ice storm is going to be.
Yeah. It's I purposely now try not to introduce the ram just to avoid that process, because I think the worst year I ever had where I lost like 5 babies in the January birthing, and you come out there because you can't be out there all night, but you go out there and you check on them every hour, every couple hours, and you just go out there and you find a frozen newborn.
Man, ours have done. We haven't had that happen. We've probably been lucky, but ours, every one of them. We'll go out there and come out to feed, because I'll shake I give them a pitcher of feed every morning so I can get them to follow wherever I need them. And that mom just won't get up. And you're like, what's going on over there? And there's a baby.
Well, it seems like for us during that year they were just, maybe the storms that were coming in at the time stressed them out. And so that's when they gave birth.
Same.
And so we just lost one after another. And you go out there, like I remember one was still in its sack, which we could have perfectly saved if that happened during the day. Because all we do is open that up and get them up, and but it hit the ground and froze right there. About 5 of them did that.
Man, we'll build structures. They won't get in. They won't have nothing to do with straw or any of it, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes afterwards they'll go in there, but not during.
Yeah. Normally it's not a problem. Like I've never had that problem. Just that 1 year, it was just a bad year.
Yeah, I see somebody talking about Anatolians. I've got 2 Kangals and I've got 3 Pyrenees here, and they all do fine. Yeah,
Pyrenees are good homestead dogs.
Mine are half Anatolian, half Pyrenees, and they do great here.
Yeah, the Anatolians have a little more aggression to them. They're a little more mouth behind them.
If you can put the Pyrenees with the Anatolians, I heard those are great dogs. But otherwise, those Anatolians, they can be pretty aggressive.
I really lucked into our dogs because the veterinarian was out and said, you need dogs. And I know somebody with Anatolian Pyrenees puppies that she does not. She just gave them to me.
Wow, that's
I had to amazing. I got them at 9 months, so we had some training, but they trained with their mom for the first 9 months, already had their first kill.
Cool.
So, yeah. Took about a month of dogs getting out and whatnot for us to get them trained on the electric, but yeah.
What does Dano say? Look at what's being done in Europe to any family farmers. Every input is being inflated to almost unaffordable land. Taxes are doing the rest of the job. Many don't have 2A, obviously, like we do. Yeah, you're watching what's going on in Europe. We kind of talked about this at the beginning of the video. And I mean, you guys gave up your Second Amendment rights years ago. And
well, they don't even own their farms. Like at least in the UK, like they don't own those farms. They license a share.
Yeah, it's you're in a tough spot if you're over in those countries.
Yep.
Australia too. Australia is a mess.
Just come to our southern border. They'll just let you right in.
You get a free cell phone. I mean, how big, great deal.
They'll register you to vote. They'll give you a cell phone. They'll give you $20,000 on a debit card. Just make it to Tennessee. Let me know when you're here.
And then once you're in, you get your green card. You can go buy a gun after that because they'll give them to anybody coming in the border.
Same with Canada. No questions. Come on in. Underground Railroad.
The world we live in.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking about just like disappearing and coming back over the border as Jose.
Yes.
You could do it.
Yes.
Oh, it's funny.
Well, is it time for us to wrap up, guys?
Yeah, maybe it's okay. I appreciate you having me on. I'm looking forward to coming out to you guys. I'll keep promoting the event on my channel, and hopefully we'll get a good crowd out there.
Awesome.
Oh, I'm sure we will. And I'm looking forward to your talk, especially on that, like managing the homestead standpoint. It's really easy to get somebody out to talk about biochar or, how to raise rabbits or whatever. But the thing that I see people struggle the most with early on in homesteading is the many pieces and putting the many pieces together in a way that is, building momentum rather than making you crazy. And once you get the rhythm down, it's really cool. Like I think John should do a session on how he organized his morning chores to be efficient, because he gets his morning chores done really quickly and he does everything manually right now. So he sees the animals once a day for sure. Mm-hmm. And because he thought about how to organize, like where to start and where to finish and what has to be where, that makes his life more manageable. And he's not out there for 4 hours, tearing his hair out or anything.
Consistency and a routine.
That's the big thing, man. If I skip, if I try to resequence, man, something's getting missed every time. Like if you watch me, you'll be like, what is that dude doing? That looks that pattern is absolutely insane, but man, it works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It works for me.
Good. So that's all you need to do. Develop a routine.
Yep.
All right. Zach, we're looking forward to having you. Do you want to cross promote anything you're working on before we sign off?
Yeah, you can just find me over at AnAmericanHomestead.com. Excuse me. And there's a sign up sheet there for a newsletter. At some point, I'm going to get that activated. But if you want to get on that list, AnAmericanHomestead.com. So AnAmericanHomestead.com. And also check me out on Twitter. Follow me over there.
How about
and you'll be back on Twitter in another 6 hours, right?
Well, I got back on this morning, so it started yesterday for 12 hours, but I got back on this morning. I'm good to
go. How about your book? You got a book for sale, don't you?
No, I don't. No book. That's this right here. Yeah. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, I do.
Well, it's not my book. It was written over 100 years ago by this guy, Dr. A.B. Howard. You can find me over at patreon.com. And I give this to all my patrons for just joining at the lowest level possible, $1. If I could give it away for free, I would. It's out of copyright, out of print. If you go on Amazon right now and try to buy these, they're going to cost you $1,000 a piece. And it's got full color photos in here talking about all these plants on your homestead you can turn into medicine. My top 3, real quick, are mullein, echinacea, and stinging nettle. And it tells you. It doesn't tell you how to make a tincture. It tells you what to do with them and why. So very important books written over 100 years ago. The Rothschilds, a long time ago, tried to get all of this taken out of the public domain. So do yourself a favor. Go to my Patreon. Sign up for $1. If you join at higher levels, I appreciate it. But $1 gets you these $1,000 a piece books. Well worth it.
Definitely worth it. Okay, John, what do you got?
SOEtacticalgear.com is the website. I do a live every night at 9:00. You can jump on. We talk light politics, current events, homesteading, business, anything you want to talk about. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I'm really everywhere. It's all SOE Tactical Gear. And if somebody replies to you, it's almost always me that is interacting with you.
Awesome. I'm Nicole Sauce from the Living Free in Tennessee podcast, and I put together the Self-Reliance Festival with John Willis, which is October 5th and 6th. But we've got something special, which is a free webinar series, July 26th through 29. That's this month. If you head over to selfreliancefestival.com/webinar, it's 4 days. You'll be hearing from Jack Spirko, Billy Bond, Alan Booker, and I shouldn't forget this, but for some reason it just flew out of my head. Oh, Bear. How could I forget Bear? Anyway, it's about community, building soil in your backyard, how resilient is your kitchen, and a chicken tractor on steroids. All of that's going to be over at selfreliancefestival.com/webinar. And we launched our workshops this week. If you are wanting to get into homesteading and self-reliance and not quite sure what to do, come a day early. October 4th, Self-Reliance Boot Camp. We're going to start with fire and then process rabbits and then cook our rabbits and eat them, among other things throughout the day, as well as you can take some self-defense courses from Sunny Puzikas. That's also at selfreliancefestival.com. Guys, we will see you next week.